Hey guys, this is MtgGalaxy here bringing you a brand new video, and really quickly before this video starts, I want to thank you guys so much for all the comments and the input on last video. I really appreciate it. It got about 30 views at this point, which is pretty good for my standards. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much for the comments, and I might actually be wrong about the whole entire Dawn/Dusk fake spoiler thing, but you know, we'll find out what it is. But anyways, today we have a $30 deck tech for you. It is mono white humans, and let's just jump right into it. So this deck runs a very low mana curve, seeing how it is mono white weenies in standard. And so for our 1-drops, we're running 3 1-drop creatures, which is Town Gossip Monger, Expedition Envoy, and Thriving Inspector. Town Gossip Monger is a really strong 1 mana creature because it is a 1/1 for 1, pretty standard, but you can tap it as early as turn 3 to turn it into a 2/3 Incited Rabble, and it can Fire Breathe, but sadly it does attack each combat if able, which isn't favorable, but it's still a very strong 1/1 creature that can have some pretty decent power in the late game, along with some other cards that we'll talk about a little later. Our second 1-drop is a playset of Expedition Envoy, and this is a really strong card in this current standard. It's just a 2/1 for 1. It can kill most creatures that they put on the 3rd drop most of the time, and yeah, just a basic vanilla 2/1 for 1 creature. And then our final 1-drop creature is a playset of Thriving Inspector. This card is very strong once again in this current meta. It is just a simple 1/2 for 1, but it also has late game potential, as in making clue tokens, which you can, if you don't have anything else to spend it on, you can just pay 2 mana to draw a card. So either one of those are fine on turn 1. I'd probably prefer the Thriving Inspector or Town Gossip Monger, because the Thriving Inspector can make, if you don't have anything to play on turn 2, the Thriving Inspector can give you something to do on turn 2, and Town Gossip Monger has value late game. And now it's time for our 2-drop slot. For our 2-drop slot, I'm playing an entire playset of Hanwha Militia Captain and an entire playset of Talia's Lieutenant. So Hanwha Militia Captain it's really solid in this deck, seeing as we can easily get out 4 creatures by the beginning of turn 3, and also it transformed into a Westvale Cult Leader, which is at least a 4 power on turn 3 when it transforms, and it also at the end step makes a 1/1 token, which is really good at the end step because it can easily be used for jump blocking next turn, or it can make the Westvale Cult Leader bigger. And then, for a playset of Talia's Lieutenant, this was the main win condition I had when I thought of when I was building this deck, but as I playtested this deck more and more, it kind of went to the Hanwha Militia Captain, seeing as Talia's Lieutenant was a bit more situational, seeing as you have to keep playing creatures. But a fairly good thing is that the tokens that the Militia Captain controls are human clerics, so Talia's Lieutenant does get bigger if you have both of them on the field. But as I was saying, Talia's Lieutenant, you need kind of a more solid amount of creatures. Meanwhile, the Hanwha Militia Captain kind of fuels itself. And then the final thing rounding out our creature curve is a full playset of Courageous Outrider. And this card is very, very solid in the late game, which it can look at the top 4 cards, it can kind of go 4 cards deep to try to find any Westvale Cult Leaders or Talia's Lieutenant you might have in there, as well as it's a 3 power for a toughness creature on the battleground that can kind of counteract some of the opponent's bigger creatures. It's a really valuable turn 4 play. So now we're gonna get into some creature buffs and to some removal that this deck brings. So the first thing we're going to look at is a playset of Griff's Boon, and this card is very, very good. It combos very well with Town Gossip Monger, because on turn 3 you can have a 3/3 in the air that can swing for 3 each turn, and because it has some form of evasion, as in flying, it can be very hard to block because it has to attack each turn if able, and it makes it a lot more valuable because it won't die as easily. Also, the late game option of 4 mana returning it to your graveyard if one of your creatures that has it dies, that's very valuable because it makes it more of an enchantment, where auras, they're normally more of a disadvantage than artifacts normally, because they go to the graveyard when they die, and they can only be used pretty much once, but Griff's Boon isn't that at all. And then for removal, this is what we're going to do in our 3-drop slot. We have 3 Stasis Snares. This card's very solid. It can disrupt cat combo very easily, just in response to your person playing Felidar Sovereign before they can activate the abilities. Just flash in a Stasis Snare and exile one of their Felidar Guardians. Easy as that. Just cast that and just disrupt the combo completely. And then we have a 3 copies of Always Watching, which is a very solid 3-drop. It gives everything +1/+1 and Vigilance, which if you have multiple of these on the field, it gives them an additional buff, as well as the +1/+1, but Vigilance doesn't stack up. You can probably see why. And that's a very good, solid booster if you need to boost your creatures and get through extra damage in order to win. Our final card is a playset of Faith Unbroken. And this card is very solid because it gives your creatures an extra 2 power and 2 toughness, as well as it's an extra stasis snare attached to a creature. It's not sadly as good as stasis snare because if you kill the creature, then the creature does return to play, but it's an additional boost for our creatures, and as a budget removal option, this was simply too good to pass up. And for our mana base, since we are running mono white, we're just going to run 22 planes in the interest of budget. That's pretty much it. And then for our sideboard, we're going to run 3 Authority of Consuls, 3 Fragmentize, 2 Blessed Alliance, 4 Immolating Glare, 2 Make a Stand, and 1 Stasis Snare. Authority of Consuls for those more kind of aggro decks where you can really stop the opponents from swinging in early with their bigger creatures, and also to gain a little extra life against the aggro decks. Fragmentize for decks with heavy vehicles and heavy enchantments. It kills most things in the format. Blessed Alliance, just for versatility reasons. If you need it, board it in. Simple as that. Nothing against a particular deck. Immolating Glare, we have a 4 of in the sideboard. It's only 4 of because it is very useful against big creatures that you can't take out with your little white weenies. So you just have to destroy the attacking creature with Immolating Glare. And then Make a Stand is for the kind of grindy mashups where you need to give your creatures an extra indestructible until the end of turn. So if they do a board wipe, or you just need to push through that 1 extra damage with each of your creatures to win. And then the final Stasis Snare, just because of versatility and anti-cat. And that is the end of this video. I just want to conclude this video by saying thank you guys so much for watching. This deck might not win a GP or a Pro Tour, but it sure will completely destroy people who aren't expecting it in your local FNM. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like, comment, and even subscribe if you want, and tell me what you think of this deck in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys all in the next video.